I know you from a movie. Everybody knows you right now from Gotham, but I know you from a movie that I saw as a kid going into the teenage years and still watch to this day, and it absolutely terrifies me all the time. A movie called Event Horizon.
Oh, yeah, my gosh, yeah.
I think it's one of the most underrated as far as those thriller / space horror kind of movies, where it was always one I told people about, and they're like, I never heard of it. And I'm like, no, you got to watch Event Horizon because it's just seriously messed up.
Yeah,
and the fact that it's being isolated out in space where there's no one to help makes it even worse.
That's right. It was a haunted house movie in space. That was what we tried to sort of achieve.
Right.
And it's still got legs. It's really weird. I mean, after all these years, and I think what was clever was they used a lot of models with CGI, early CGI to many respects, and it also looked sort of grimy and dirty. It looked for real. I mean, the sets they built this, the Lewis and Clark, it was actually built on gimbals. The whole thing actually was, had a sort of aft foredeck. It had it was split where there was 2 floors to it. The whole thing would move as one, as a ship. We used to have money in films, you know what I mean?
But I think that's what makes it hold up, even though it wasn't a blockbuster by today's means. Even by then, those means, it was one of those movies that I guess just became a cult hit.
That's right, yeah.
And the fact that you were using sets instead of, like a lot of people would tend to overdo it when brand new technology comes out. Everything has to be that brand new technology. You don't use the traditional ways anymore.
Adrian Biddle lit it, who of course lit Blade Runner and stuff like that. So we had the 007 stage at Pinewood, which was that huge meat grinder thing. Which I've never seen a sort of set that large. I've ever been involved in anything that was sort of built to that sort of extent. It was a huge thing, and there was only 6 of us in it, so it was a real experience as a young actor to be in a film that cost that much money. And but what I'm proud about is still has got legs. It still exists.
Whenever I'm not even saying when it's on cable.
I think it's on Netflix and stuff like that now.
Yeah, but I have the DVD. Sometimes I'll just go downstairs and go, you know what? I think I want to watch that again. You watch it and just.
It's the whole build up to it, isn't it?
Right.
I mean, when you actually see Sam Neill as the monster, I think that spoiler, sorry. When you actually see him as the monster, it gets less scary, but it's the build up that, like you said, that thing of being in the middle, no one can hear you scream kind of vibe. It's just terrifying.
And that's another thing too. I think the fact that you don't see exactly what's going on for so long until the end. I guess it's the old theater of the mind where no matter what it is being portrayed, it's never as good as what you think it is in your head.
Right. And that was the idea, but they changed it, the studio slightly changed it, was the ship, of course, is the conduit to this other level, which is hell. So when you come into contact with the actual ship, that's when you got these sort of images.
Right.
You got these images of, because you were the mouth of the black hole going into this other dimension. So, but they sort of they didn't think the audience would get that, so they sort of chipped away at that, and I think that's where it sort of lost its way slightly.
Do people still bring this movie up to you? When
they do
that
and Dog Soldiers, which is a werewolf movie that we did. Neil Marshall, who does Game of Thrones and stuff like that now, but it was his first sort of foray into cinema, and that is the one that still, for me, people talk about the most.
Right.
Is that an Event Horizon?